Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to do unit number 5, poem Daffodils. We are going to read the poem. We will critically analyze it, answer the comprehension questions, and then discuss the vocabulary used. First, let us talk about the poet and the poem a little bit. The poet of this poem is William Wordsworth. He was a great poet of nature. He is well known for his poems like the Tintern Abbey, Ode on Intimations of Immortality, and other shorter poems like the Daffodils, the Solitary Reaper, etc. He chose nature and common man for the theme of his poems. He wrote about the natural objects in simple language and with his eyes always fixed upon the object of his description. In this poem, the poet describes how he could enjoy the sight of daffodils even many days after he saw them. Let's read the poem. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dance with the daffodils. Now, here you can see these are the daffodils. These are some kind of flowers which are there in some European countries and other places. Okay, let's talk about the vocabulary. Daffodils is a kind of yellow flower commonly found in England and some other European countries. Vales means valleys. A host of means a large number of. Beneath, under, fluttering, flapping in the air. Milky Way, the white band of stars that can be seen across the sky at night. It's the galaxy. Sprightly, lively, outdo, do better than. Sparkling, sending out flashes of light. Glee, happiness, you can say, feeling of joy caused by success. Gay, again, being happy. Jocund, cheerful or happy. Oft is the short form for often. Couch, a bed. Vacant, empty. Pensive, sad or thoughtful. Mood, inward eye, mind's eye or imagination. Solitude, being alone. Now let's look here. What does the poet say? That he was wandering lonely, just like a cloud. He's comparing himself to a cloud. And he's floating over the valleys and the hills. And he comes across a number of golden daffodils, which are beside the lake and they are beneath the trees, under the trees. And they are very happily dancing and fluttering in the breeze. Now, fluttering and dancing. Dancing is something which is carried out by the human beings. So here the poet is personifying the daffodils, that they are dancing. Now their large number again is being shown by the countless stars. You know, they are like the continuous shining stars that twinkle in the Milky Way. They are stretched till you can see in a never ending line along the margin of a bay. Again, the number is being quoted, 10,000 saw I at a glance. Now, this 10,000 is telling us that it is a large number of daffodils, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Now, again, tossing their heads. They cannot toss their heads because they are not humans, but again the poet is comparing them to personifying them like they are very happy, and when the breeze is blowing, they are tossing their heads, they are, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, moving to and fro. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Because they are along the margin of the bay, it means there is some river flowing beside. Now, the waves are also very happy, but as far as the happiness is concerned, the flowers are far more happier than those waves. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. Now, the company of the daffodils is so beautiful, so cheerful, that it makes the poet happy. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. Now, over here, the poet says that he continued to look at them, and he wasn't thinking about anything else. But that sight brought him a lot of wealth. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mode, they flash upon the inward eye. Now, when the poet is alone, he is in his house, lying on his bed, and whether he is thinking about something in a thoughtful mood, or he is in a sad mood, or even if he is not thinking, the head is clear, empty, even then suddenly he thinks about inward eye, the mind's eye. Suddenly he imagines this thought of the daffodils, the company of the daffodils, and in his loneliness, in his solitude, it brings him bliss, it brings him happiness, and then his heart is filled with pleasure. And again, even though the sight of the daffodils is not there, his heart is dancing with those daffodils which he had seen a long time ago. So this poem basically conveys the idea that if you come across a sight which is very beautiful or which makes you cheerful at that moment, that sight stays with you even after you have gone away and you're alone. Even then you can enjoy that sight. Now let's look at some of the questions. What does the poet compare himself to? Like we discussed, he compares himself to a cloud which is floating alone in the sky. What did he see all at once? He comes across a place which is full of daffodils. What does he compare the daffodils to in the beginning? Continuous. He compares the daffodils to the stars of the Milky Way, which are infinite, which cannot be counted. Similarly, the daffodils were there until he could, see his sight, up till his sight. What does he mean by 10,000? A very huge number of daffodils. What mood of the poet does the line tossing their heads in a sprightly dance suggest? It suggests that the daffodils are happy, and the poet feels happy on seeing these sprightly daffodils tossing their heads. What seemed more joyous, the waves or the daffodils? According to the poet, the daffodils looked far more happier than the waves. What is the meaning of wealth in line 18? It means that the poet felt that seeing this beautiful place had created a lasting impression in him, and it is very important to him. And this is the wealth that he has acquired, the wealth of a memory that is stored with him forever. Okay. Let's talk about when all at once I saw a crowd. Now, here I refers to the poet. The crowd is the daffodils. And when did he see this crowd? When he was wandering around, suddenly he came upon this sight. Where did he see them? He saw them beside the lake and under the trees. 10,000 saw I at a glance. What did the speaker see? He saw a huge number of daffodils. Were they 10,000 in number? No. That number, what does it denote? It means that there were large number of daffodils. It's just an expression that is used for telling that it's a huge number. Okay, how does the poet wander? The poet wanders lonely like the cloud that goes over the hills. Where does he see the daffodils? He sees the daffodils beside the lake and beneath the trees. How does he describe the daffodils in stanza 2? He compares the daffodils to the stars of the Milky Way that twinkle, that are shining brightly, that sparkle. Why could the poet not but be gay? The poet looks at the daffodils in the waves, feels they are very happy and are smiling at him, and hence he too feels happy being there. The sight of the daffodils makes the poet happy. When do the daffodils flash upon the poet's inward eye? When the poet is lying on a couch at his house thinking deeply, then the picture of the daffodils flashes in his mind. What effect does it have on him? It makes him feel very happy and makes him want to dance with happiness. His heart dances with happiness. Okay. What are the different words or expressions used to describe the daffodils? The poet compares the daffodils to stars of the Milky Way galaxy that twinkle in the night. We find the word dance in every stanza. What does it tell us about the poet's mood? The poet is in a happy mood and feels very connected to the nature around him. He is touched by the natural beauty of the flowers around him. Let's talk about some of the rhyming words that have been used. Cloud and crowd, hills and daffodils, trees and breeze, shine and line, way, bay, glance, dance, they, gay, glee, company, thought, brought, lie, eye, mood, solitude, fills, daffodils. Okay. What are the words or phrases used to express that the daffodils were innumerable in number? Innumerable means a lot of in number. When all at once I saw a crowd, this means that it was a crowd, it was a huge number. 10,000 of them at a glance. 10,000 again, a lot of them, it's not actually 10,000, indicates that there were a large number of daffodils. Study the lines, I wandered lonely as a cloud, continuous as the stars that shine. In each of the above lines, we find a comparison. Such a comparison is called a simile. So, simile is a comparison of one or the other thing by the use of as or like. Like he was like a cloud, or he wandered lonely as a cloud, or they were like the stars. Fine. But if there is no as or like, then that comparison is called a metaphor, like he is a lion. And then there were other expressions that I had discussed with you. Personification, where the daffodils are being personified, like the humans, they dance. Humans dance, flowers do not dance, right? So they are being personified. So I hope the poem is clear to you. In the next lesson, we are going to paraphrase the poem. So see you next time. Take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.